Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there and age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk about something super exciting. We've talked about my roadmap to 250,000. We talked about my road from broke to millionaire. Today I'm going to show you and talk you through how to make $300,000 in less than 4 years. You can really do it in 3 years, but we're going to say less than 4 years, you're going to make $300,000. And then I'm going to show you how you can make $500,000 in the same time span if you just tweak one little thing. Now, some of the things that I've done personally, I'm going to reiterate just to give you some talking points throughout my life. This is all real, no BS. A lot of it I personally done myself. In fact, all of it I've done myself. And if I didn't do it, I will tell you throughout the video that I did not take this step. But if you listen up and you listen good, you will be able to do just that. Now, I must preface immediately that I started this journey without any debt, no credit card debt, no student loan debt. I also started this journey with a bachelor's degree. So this is assuming you've already graduated college. Now, that does not mean you need to go to college, because there are a lot of people who can be trades, construction workers, and city servants or city workers and still make a great income. So I'm also going to preface, if you make $50,000 to $60,000 during this time frame, you should easily be able to make $300,000 in 3 years. Let's talk about it. If you make $40,000, you can still do this. It's just going to take a lot more work and a lot more discipline. So if you're up to the challenge, anyone making $40,000 or more, this video is for you. All right. Now again, I do have to start by saying, when I started, I worked my butt off to be debt-free when I was going through school. So I graduated school debt-free, and that cost me a little over $30,000 to finish 4 years debt-free. When I got out of school, I immediately started working 3 jobs so that I could lead by example for the people in my family, to let them know, hey, although I graduated, the job's not done. I'm going to show you that I work super hard. And so my career truly starts in January of 2020 when I started working for Amazon. All right. Amazon started me off with a $50,000 salary and $50,000 in bonuses over a 5-year period of time. I did not stay with Amazon for the majority of that service, and so we're going to talk about that. All right. I had to buy a vehicle, which cost me $15,000. I did get a relocation package, which was $7,500. And then when I left, I also got a severance package, which was around the same $7,500. So I had a lot to start with. When I got into the restaurant industry, I was making $53,000 plus bonuses. All right. And so I was staying within that 50,000-ish range very early on in my life. I was like 20, 21. And so I really had a lot of stability in terms of income at that time. And if you say the bonuses pay off my car, and so if you already have a car or you were gifted a car, whatever the case may be, great for you. You don't need the greatest car. You don't need a $15,000 car. I know some people driving a $6,000 car, $7,000 car. If I traded my vehicle in today, it would only be worth $6,000. And so, you know, again, it's all depending on where you start. So let's say you make $40,000 to $60,000 a year. Let's say you already have a vehicle. If you live in New York, you don't need a vehicle, right? You can use public transportation, even better. And let's say you're debt-free. If you're not debt-free, you probably want to get debt-free first, all right? And so the first thing you want to do is save up $10,000 to $20,000. Now, depending on your living situation, which can always be modified, it can take you 6 months to a year on a $40,000 to $60,000 salary. As long as you are physically healthy, obviously, right? If you're paying for a lot of medical expenses, it can take longer. And bless you, and I hope you get to where you want to get to. So, let's say some people are probably saying, hey, I can't do this because I paid $1,200 a month in rent, or I paid $2,000 a month in rent. All right, here's the first thing. You can always move in with a roommate. A lot of people are against that. You're probably against that right away, but over time, you'll start to see the value in it. I was initially against it as well. I didn't want that to begin my career. I didn't want that to begin my life. In fact, when I saved up my first $10,000 or $20,000, I did it without a roommate because I didn't want that at the time. And it wasn't until I purchased my second home that I actually got a roommate. So let's keep that in mind. So I was actually paying $1,200 plus a month. It was like $1,265 before utilities and other expenses, while saving up this money. So it can absolutely be done on that income, but you can do it a lot quicker if you were to get a roommate, if you were paying $800 a month or less, right? And if you already have a place with more than one bedroom, you can still rent that out so that you are paying $800 a month or less. With that being done, you can now save up $10,000 to $20,000. That means you're not going out to eat every single day, maybe once or twice a month. I know that's hard for a lot of people. You are delaying gratification, which means you're not buying unnecessary things on Amazon, Temu, or any other shopping site that you like to fancy. You are telling your friends, I can't do that this month. You can come over and we can hang out, or I can come over to yours and hang out, but we're not going out this month. My budget is only $50 for entertainment, and that is that, because $50 is not going to break the bank one way or the other, right? But don't start getting to the habit of, oh, since $50 doesn't break the bank, $100 also won't. No. Birthdays and everything else can put to the side. You wish everybody a happy birthday and you move on. You got a goal. This year is your goal year, right? And so, once you cast all of that to the side, you save up your $10,000 to $20,000. Let's say it took me about 8 months. Maybe 6 months, but I was searching for 10 months for a property, right? You might have, and it took me, I was searching for like 4 months before I found my property. It took me 6 months to get the money, 4 months to find a property that I was actually happy with. Now, I did bid on a lot of properties prior to the one that I actually got, but I was being outbidded because I was being a tightwad, very cheap with my money, and I didn't want to overspend for any properties. So yes, I could have gotten a property in months 7, 8, and 9, but people were paying more for the properties than I was. And the good news is you might not face those same challenges in this market because there's going to be less competition with higher interest rates. So the problems that I faced that made me have to wait 10 months to buy my first deal, you won't have to wait that long. Now, it takes about a month and a half to close on properties if all your ducks in a row. So let's say you close on a property and it took an entire year to do it. So in year number 1, you get into January of 2026 with a property. Let's say you started January 2025. You get into January 2026 with one property. You save $20,000. Let's say you buy a property for $180. You put I normally put 10% down, but you put, because you only got 20 grand, you put, let's say, 7.5% down. The rest is in closing costs. Cool. And mind you, you can put 10% down, but they'll just raise your rate a little bit higher so that you don't pay the closing costs. But let's say you pay 7.5% down and you pay all your closing costs up front. You buy a 3-bedroom property. And a lot of people are saying, whoa. Where are you finding a $180,000 property? I would say in the Midwest. I would say places like Michigan, places like West Virginia, places like New Orleans, places like Ohio, Cleveland, Columbus, all of these places, even places in Pennsylvania, are going to offer you properties that are $180,000. May not be the best areas and may not be the worst areas depending on the market, but you can definitely get a property, 2 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, even a 4 bedroom in some cases, and start to rent those out. What I would also suggest is buying a property in a college town area if you live there. If you don't live there, don't do it. If you live there, absolutely do it, because you can get rooms to be rented out for $600, $700, $800 a month, and these are going to be 5 bedroom, 6 bedroom properties. And immediately I think about the college that I went to, which was the University of Albany, where there were 5 bedroom properties, there were 6 bedroom properties, very low maintenance. A lot of these properties were not being taken care of, but they were always rented out because there were always people looking to move off campus that were going to school. And there were so many colleges around the University of Albany. You had Sage College, and you had a couple of others. And so there was so many colleges around there that you can always find someone who was willing to rent a room. Now, with that being said, this is where the money starts to happen. So you saved your $20,000 in year one. You bought a property for $180,000. Property prices were going up more than 10% year over year, but that is not the average. So we don't want to depend on that. Okay. I personally, after I bought my first property, went directly into the military. So what happened was I was able to rent out that house completely for about $1,200 a month. And it was only costing me about $700 a month at the time before property taxes and everything went up. And I was able to save all my money, even sell my car, invest all that money. And I was getting a military paycheck with all my expenses paid for in terms of housing costs and everything by the military. And so I had 0 expenses while getting rental income of a cash flow of like $400, $500 every single month. And so you can see how quickly I was able to save $30,000 before the end of 2022. In this case, 2027 for you. Now, I'm not telling you to join the Army, so we're going to do a different strategy this time around. But you can see how easy it was for me to get to that $300,000 in less than 3 years. So the different strategy for you is going to be to house hack the property that you live in, right? So now, what is house hack? House hack is when you rent the rooms and you live in another. So you're going to rent out 2 of the rooms. Let's say you rent it out for $700 a month each. That's $1,400, and your mortgage on $180,000 at a 6% interest rate is going to be somewhere around. Let me not even speculate. Let's go ahead and pull it up, right? Let's go to bank rate. Let's go to bank rate. I'm going to do New York, a New York zip code. All right. Let's do like 11207. And then we're going to do loan amount 180,000. They're already saying with a down payment of 7.5%, which is 16,870. Oh wait, they raised the property price again. All right, so that 180,000 with a 7.5% down payment. They put the interest rate at 7. I'm gonna put that at 6.2%, and it's expected to go down in November, so that's even better. 13,500 down payment, that's 7.5. You do your closing costs, probably another $5,000. So you're all in 6, 7, 8, about 18,500 all in. You got about 1,500 left over when you close that first year. You got $1,500 left over. That's actually going to pay for your next month payment. But because you got 2 roommates at $700 apiece, that's $1,400 a month. Your total monthly payment with taxes and everything included is going to be $1,369, which means you don't actually have to pay the mortgage, and you got about $31 of extra income coming in. Now you still got to pay utilities, you still got to pay for everything else, like, you know, maintenance of the home. So you got to calculate 10% for that. You're not making enough to cover that with just tenants. So you got to pay that out of pocket. You got to pay for your maintenance. You got to pay for your utilities. But on a $60,000 a year salary, you're taking home about $3,000 a month, and you just eliminated your biggest expense. So it's actually better than when I was in the military, because I was actually losing money when I was in the military. I wasn't making as much as I did when I was out. So now you got $3,000 a month. Let's say you got $500 in utility bills. You got another $300 in groceries, which is way more than I spend on groceries. So don't start coming at me. I only spend about $200 a month on groceries, people. Yes, 200, 200. So if you're spending $300 and you're telling me that's not enough, tough giggles, okay? So we're at about $800 there, and then let's say for gas we're going $300, which again is way more than I spend, and I have to drive 40 miles to go to work. So I'm spending $250 a month on gas. I'm giving you $300 as grace. That's going to be $1,200 a month in expenses, which leaves you $1,800 a month for everything else. Let's say you take $1,500 of that and you save it. I'm not telling you to invest anything. You just save it, $1,500. And for the other $300 is going to be repairs, maintenance, and fun. Let's say you set aside $150 for fun, and you set aside $150 for repairs and maintenance. I always buy properties that are ready to go from start to finish, so you should not have any maintenance costs. But that $1,500, let's say we save that up for a year, we're going to have another $18,000. So you can literally just repeat the process that you just started. And let's say we actually do that. We buy a second home. All right. Now you got 2 homes that are equivalent to $360,000. But wait. One of the homes went up in value by 4%, because that's the national average. So that means you just got $7,200 in equity from one of your homes. You put $18,000 in one. You paid one down a little bit. Let's say you got $5,000 in paid down. And you already put $13,500 into one of the houses. So that puts you at $36,500. All right, cool. Now, let's repeat the process. You are going to house hack this one too, but this time you're not going to live in it. So for all 3 rooms, you're going to have everybody pay $750 each. And you raise rents on the other unit. So that gives you so now that's going to cover some of your utilities. You raise rents by just $50. All right, so now you have $3,600 in net worth, essentially. So let's add $50 here, plus $50 here, plus $50 here, plus $750, plus $750, plus $750, plus $750, plus $750, and one more $750, plus $750. And I actually just calculated that wrong, so I got a minus $150 from that. That leaves you with $4,500 a month. And we're going to minus the monthly payment from both of the properties. So that's $1,369 minus $1,369 equals. So now your profit every single month is $1,762. All right. We're going to add $3,000 in active income to that, and then minus, let's say $1,200 for your expenses once again. That leaves you with $3,562. Now already you have two properties worth about $370,000 right now. We're in year 2, and it's time to save for the year all that money, which leaves you with $42,744. $42,744. And since we're sticking to what I've actually done, let me talk you through what I've actually done. So I actually got a Series I bond, which you can put $10,000 in every single year. At the time, it was at 9% for the next 6 months. You're not going to get that right now, all right? I also had a savings account, which was high yield, yielding over 5%. You're not going to get that right now. And I was also investing in the stock market at the same time, which was yielding 33% returns. Most people are not going to get 33% returns, and I've showed you my stock market account several times, so you know I'm not lying to you guys. The average in the stock market is about 9 to 12% returns. So I can't ask you to put this money in the stock market, because even if you yield another 10%, that's only going to be $4,200, and we need you to make more than that. All right? So, and then also when I left the Army, I was able to buy a vehicle for 11 grand and not spend as much as I did previously, right? So now let's talk about it. Property value is going to go up again. You got $42,744 to add to your $36,500 in net worth. That puts you at $79,244. Cool. And then we're not actually going to buy another property this year. Yes, because I did not buy a third property, so I'm not expecting you to do that either. We're going to look at $180,000 times 4%. That was $7,200. Where's the plus sign? And then, because you've had one of those for more than a year, that's $187,200 times another 4%. The equity in that one is up another $7,488. And then you got another $7,200 from this one as well, from the second property. So just looking at equity alone in year 2, we're looking at $79,244 plus $7,200 plus $7,200 plus $7,488. That puts you in the 6-figure equity range by year 2. Again, you only made $60,000 every single year, and you're at $101,132. Cool. All right. So I already promised we're not going to buy another property. So now we have to improve on the assets that we have. So we've already established that you can make $42,000 in a year. It really takes about $10,000 to $20,000 to finish a basement and add more value to your home. Now, depending on where you live, you cannot do this. But in the state that I live in, all of my properties have a basement. So if you put $15,000 into rebuilding a basement, you can add $50,000 of value to the home. We're not going to use existing equity. We're just going to save up to do so. And that's going to take roughly 4 months each. And then it takes about a month to complete the basement. So it's going to take 5 months in this totality. And the basement, as a private room and bathroom and everything else, will only cost you $15,000, but will rent for over $1,000, especially for traveling nurses and things like that. So we spent $30,000 of the $42,500 that we were making. That adds $50,000 in value. So now we actually have another $20,000. So now you have $62,500 on top of the $2,000 that you're going to make from each property. 2,000 times 12 is going to give you 2,400. But let's say you didn't have the entire year to do that. So 2,000 times, let's say 5, is going to give you 10 grand plus your 60,000. That's $70,000. So in year 3, you didn't buy a third property. All you did was add two finished basement spaces to both properties, and you're at 10, and you add that to your equity of 132. You're at $171,132. $171,132. Now, I really don't want to do the math on the third year 4% appreciation in value, but for you lovely people, I will. So we're going to go 1,782 times 4%, which gives us 7,488 plus 1,872, which gives us $1,904.88 times 4%. All right, plus, I already lost the number, but let's say you're at $206,000 and $206,642. All right, let's times that by 2. Say both properties are worth that now. So you're at $413.285. This is assuming that one property grew a little bit more than the other. I'm just assuming that, right? So that's the first assumption. So we're at $413,285. Let's minus 360 because originally the properties cost $180 each, which means you automatically have appreciation of $53,000. Let's put $53,285. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is that you're also paying in some principal into this equation as well. So if it was $5,000 a year, that was 5, 10, 15 on one and 10 on the other. So that's going to be $25,000 in principal pay down. Okay. All right, so let's see in year 4 if you actually got to $300,000. So we all know now that you're going to make $70,000 that year from your cash flow from the rentals as well as from your $60,000 income salary. So we got $70,000. All right. Then we're going to add the $171,132. I did this all in my head previously, so I wasn't even sure if this adds up to $300,000. And then we're going to add our $53,285 in equity. In appreciation. And then lastly, we're going to add $25,000 in principal pay down. And guess what? Without buying a third home, because you could have bought a third home in year 3 instead of doing the basements. And you could also buy a home in year 4. But instead, in year 4, we just sat there and collected the money. We didn't do anything. And we didn't even calculate appreciation for year 4, right? So there's more money to be made. We didn't calculate principal pay down in year 4. We didn't calculate appreciation in year 4. We didn't calculate the possibility of buying another rental in year 4. All we did is sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And we came back with $319,417. Now, obviously, no repairs and maintenance was had on these properties that was extensive. I've upgraded certain things in the property, but I would still not have paid $19,000. So I still would have been in that $300,000 category. And another thing that I want to say is that, you know, I did more than this. I didn't just do this, but you can do just this and make $300,000, which means every single year for 4 years, you were generating almost 6 figures. I currently generate over 6 figures every single year, and I don't make 6 figures as a wage at work, right? And so these side hustles, these investments can absolutely get you there, and that's really what I wanted to hone in on today. Today we did it with real estate. But I was also invested in the stock market the entire time. But that's for another video. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters. If you found this one interesting, comment down below what you like so much about it, and I'll be happy to talk to you about that more. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.